Oh look, a red E63. How convenient. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So two huge things on this one. One, I did sell a car, so you're gonna find out what the replacement is. And two, we're gonna be talking about transitioning. Hey guys, so yeah, I am back. I got kind of busy, lots of stuff going on. I've only had 16 days off of work this year. It's May, but I did build a porch, 2 porches, a garden, a fence. Anyway, to the cars. Yes, I did sell my favorite car. I actually sold my Jeep Grand Cherokee, which was my daily driver. I loved that car, but it kind of made sense because I had 5 V8 vehicles and 3 of them were 4-wheel drive SUVs, so it kind of just made sense to get rid of the redundant one and get something else. So back there right here, we have a 2019 Model S Performance. So yes, it's not the Plaid, but it is still the quick one of that year, and it is kind of a blast to drive. So I'm going to be talking about that and the buying experience, and mostly from a different standpoint. There's lots of Tesla channels out there, and I'm sure you're going to find a lot of good information from all these techies and stuff that used to own Priuses. But I want to know, and I was curious, what is it like for a guy who is a huge internal combustion engine fan to own an EV? And so again, I'm not selling out. This isn't replacing any of these other than the Jeep. It's going to be my daily, and I figured I would diversify my fleet. So in case we get hit by an EMP, I could drive the Blazer. If Russia hacks our oil system again, I could drive the Tesla. And if nothing happens, I still got a bunch of fun cars. So anyway, what is it like for a gearhead to own one of these? And is it really fast for somebody that's actually used to something fast? Of course, if you came from a Prius, sure, it feels fast, but is it? So we're going to be talking about all that. But first, I got to show you where I've come so far. I actually just finished a full paint correction on this, about 25 hours. I didn't make a full video on that because I already have like 3 paint correction videos on there. But I did lower it. We'll go over that. And I did put new wheels on there. So we'll stop there and then we'll get in and drive it and talk about why this might be something to consider and maybe not. So check this out. I like how when I'm in my garage, it shows my Blazer as a semi truck. All right, real quick, here is kind of the before look with these 19-inch tires and the stock ride height. In the sun, it looks pretty good. Like I said, I haven't done a paint correction yet. That will be coming. One thing I noticed, this car came from a very clean environment. Everything on here looks great. There's really no corrosion at all. Almost little or no road grime, which is kind of cool. Got some big brakes. I think it's 355s in the front, 365s in the rear. Pretty good sized brakes. Coming down here to the rear, again, everything looks looking pretty clean. Maybe just a little bit of cleanage. Fully ceramic coated after about a 20-hour paint correction. I can go through and kind of show you the before pictures, but it came out amazing. This thing is shining, and believe it or not, I drove this to work in the rain this morning, and it still looks this clean after driving in the rain. You got to give it to ceramic coating. I do have the 21-inch staggered turbines installed on there now, and it's lowered about 1 inch. Might go a little further. We're kind of going to wait for the aftermarket adjustable camber arms in the back, and then probably get some aftermarket wheels before we lower it any further. Interior of this car looks pristine. The seats are just really comfortable on this thing. Plenty of room for the kids in the back, and you know, it's just gonna make a good daily all around. So one of my favorite parts about these cars that nobody talks about, you can literally pull out of your driveway onto the road and just punch it like right off the bat. there's no waiting for these to warm up. So I have huge mechanical sympathy. None of my cars get any kind of like, throttle at all until they are fully warmed up. Like on my Mercedes, sometimes that takes like the entire way to work before I actually can floor it. So this car, on the contrary, there is no warming up. You just get in the car and floor it. And that's honestly one of my favorite features about this car so far. Oh, look, a red E63. House stage. I mean, convenient. I used to drag here in high school. It's exactly a quarter mile from here to the tracks. I'm green. I'm going for it. Watch, I'm going to give her the jump. It is pretty cool when your economy car can pretty much beat anything off the road on the line. Anyway, so to be honest, guys, I've kind of ignored EVs in general just for a variety of reasons I won't get into. Cliches, political, whatever you want to call it, stigmas. One of the big reasons is because I didn't want to like them. I'm an internal combustion guy. I love the sound of engines. I love the feel, the mechanical parts of it. But like I said earlier, I did want to kind of diversify, but honestly, the main reason kind of boiled down to simply, we got solar on our house. We had a great experience. We researched it a lot, got it installed, and we're making a ton of extra power every month. And so we're kind of looking for other ways to have that offset some of the cost. And I looked at how much I was spending on gas just driving to work. Roughly about $4,000 a year I was spending on gas, and that's a non-tangible asset. You can't sell gas that you've used when you're done, obviously. So we started kind of looking at EVs. The Model 3 didn't do anything for me. Don't like any of the Volvos, the Y. Pretty much none of them I like except for the Model S. Model S's is actually, I've always thought, are the fast ones. I remember watching videos, back a few years ago with the P100Ds that the guys racing all the time and just beating everybody. And I'm like, it's kind of hard to ignore, After running the numbers, it kind of just made sense to get one. I mean, that's $4,000 a year I'm not spending on gas. And even if it gets caught in depreciation or whatever, I'm still kind of ahead after a few years. But either way, all of that is another video. Let's just kind of talk about some of the questions that I wanted to get answered when I was thinking about EVs. And one of them is the performance of it. So this thing is a 2019 Model S Performance. It's the replacement for the P100D, but it came out before the Plaid. Either way, 0 to 60 is supposed to be 2.4 seconds. Quarter mile is 10.5 or 10.6, something like that, which is fast. And if this was a gas car, you kind of go, well, it won't do that all the time because there's a lot of other variables involved. For example, if it's hot outside, what's the density altitude? Is there any heat soak? What are the traction issues? And so even though if your car claims it does 0 to 60 in 4, it's going to do it sometimes in 4.2, sometimes in 4.5, all depending on the temperature. I wanted to know, does the same apply to EVs? Will this always go out and bust out a 2.4 0 to 60 in a quarter mile in 10.5? And the answer is no, it won't. I was actually kind of a little bit disappointed. So it is quick. I mean, there's no denying. If I floor this thing, it just shoots you back in the seat. So what does it actually do? So I got my draggy device and I went out and did a bunch of runs to test this, of course. And I found that pretty much to get any good times, you got to be above, like 75% charge. Because as soon as you get below 50, things kind of drop off pretty quick. Now it's still quick. I mean, at 25% charge, it'll still throw you back in the seat. But even above 75%, you're still not going to get that 2.4 seconds 0 to 60. I was getting 2.7 and I was like, what is going on? So to actually get those 2.4 second times, you actually need to be in Ludicrous Plus, which when I read about these things, I initially thought it was just a button that you pushed. Well, it's not. You got to push that button and then you got to wait about 40 minutes while it warms the batteries from 70 degrees to 50 degrees Celsius. And while it does that, it also uses about 10% battery. And then you got to go back and charge it if you want your absolute best. So will they hit those times? Yes, but it's so cumbersome that pretty much on any given daily run, you can really expect maybe about a 2.6, 2.7 second 0 to 60 and about an 11 second quarter mile. On a highway roll race, it's really not as impressive as I thought. It does tend to drop off quite a bit above, 80 miles an hour. In fact, the Mercedes would beat it on a highway race. But from a line, it is such a weird feeling to have that kind of acceleration.
We interrupt this video for some carbon balancing.
So So now I kind of want to talk a little bit about the buying process, since it's actually a little different to buy these than it is a lot of other cars. For example, if I go buy my Mercedes and the window sticker says that it's a Model S and it has 360 cam and it has the B&O stereo, you know that when you buy that car, you're going to have that. So now if you find a Tesla you like and the window sticker says that it's a performance model with ludicrous and it has full self-driving, it should have those, right? Turns out that it may or may not. It's kind of a rare scenario, but there is quite a few stories. If these cars go through Tesla on their way from the previous owner to you, for example, if they're traded in or auction, or somehow they went to Tesla before they got out, Tesla can actually strip the ludicrous version off, or they can even strip full self-driving, so that way they can sell it to the next driver, which is kind of scary. So you do need to check. Now, if you buy a private party, it will transfer over. If you buy from most dealers, it should too. Now, the other aspect of buying it that I didn't know about, if you buy this private party, somebody on the app literally just says, transfer ownership, boom, it's yours and done. But if they didn't do that and you bought it from a dealer, it takes 3 to 5 days for that ownership to be transferred to you. Well, during that time, you can't charge it. So, for example, this car, I flew out and was supposed to drive at 550 miles home, found out I couldn't charge on the way home, which was crap, how am I gonna get home? Luckily, a phone call to Tesla, a couple scanned documents, they were able to get it done in a few minutes, and I didn't have any issues driving home. But it did make your heart sink when you're that far away from home, found out you can't drive it. But to kind of sum up the rest of the daily driver part of it, it's got some really cool features. It automatically opens and closes the garage for you. It automatically knows where you're going. It keeps the interior cool, so like you never have to get into a hot car at all. It's saving me money. It's super comfortable. It's got an awesome stereo, factory 8-inch sub in the back. I mean, it sounds really, really good. And you know, it can drive itself. So now that leads me on to the next thing, full self-driving. So this one has the $15,000 full self-driving option, which is now only $8,000 apparently. And to be honest, if I paid that much for full self-driving, I'd be pretty bummed. But the problem is they got the full self-driving so locked down that it's really just cumbersome and kind of clunky to use compared to like other cars, for example. It's really like kind of like walking a goat. You got to grab onto it and it's always pulling on you all the time. If you contrast that with the way the Mercedes thing works, yes, the Mercedes may not be able to go around 90-degree turns and drive you to work, but it will stay and drive itself on the road with adaptive cruise and slow and speed up. But the thing about the Mercedes is you can grab the wheel, kind of swerve around a dead animal or pothole, and there's no resistance and it just goes back to staying in the lane. This one, to break free, you have to put like 20 pounds of force, which makes you kind of do this jerks thing. So if you see something in the road and you got to swerve, you know, it's pretty hard to break the cruise off. And if for some reason it thinks you misused it, after 3 warnings, it grounds you for a week and you can't use it anymore. The main annoyance I found is it just simply picks whatever speed it wants to go. You have the cruise set at 65, it'll go 60. And the speed limit changes to 45, it'll go 60. Not sure why. I haven't figured those out. I've messed with all the settings. I'll get used to it. Maybe I just have the wrong thing clicked or whatever, but luckily you can use it in the regular cruise control methods too. I honestly bought it for one reason, and that is just for resale only. Real quick, talk about like kind of the DIY aspect of this. There's still plenty of stuff you can do DIY in this. Now the motors and the batteries, not so much, but you really don't have to. Unlimited mile warranty on these from the factory, or 8 years. So that'll take me to 2028 on this thing. But there's plenty of other stuff to do. I mean, it's got a 12-volt battery. If the AC compressor goes out, window motors, you know, whatever goes out, I'm gonna fix it. Currently, it needs a new left front headlight. I'm actually gonna try to find a way to fix that, because the DRL is dead, and that is a super common issue, and really it's just replace it. I'd like to kind of do some kind of retrofit on that. I'm going to put some adjustable camber arms in the back to kind of straighten out that, because these things suffer from really bad tire wear when you lower them like that. We can't do a drive without doing a launch though, so I got it in ludicrous plus mode right now. Battery's not fully warmed up, but it's close. But anyway, let's go ahead, stop it here on this, push the gas down. Launch mode enabled. So right now the front end is sticking down to a cheetah stance. I think they actually did that to save the front CVs. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. Golly. It is such a weird feeling. It's like your vision goes blurry. I don't know how to describe it. Like I said, it's really only like the 0 to about 60, and after that it does subside, maybe because your consciousness comes back. But either way, You got to experience that if you've never done that. Even if you're totally anti-EV, just go drive one of these and see for yourself. All right, guys, so if you're still with me at this point in the video, which I don't really care if you are or not, I'm only making this video so I can write it off of my taxes. So honestly, one of the things that caused me to look into these the most, there's somebody gave a review online. The guy says, I bought a P100D for one reason, because it was fast. I didn't try to save baby seals, not trying to save the environment, nothing to do that, and not make any political comments about that. He said, I bought it simply because it was fast. He goes, and in 160,000 miles, it's burned down my house 0 times. I've never had to do brakes. I've never had to have battery replaced. Nothing on the car is broke. It just stays fast the whole time. And you know, I kind of thought about that. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good review. For me, having solar, it made sense to do that. If you didn't have solar, I don't know if I'd recommend it or not. It is kind of expensive to charge these, surprisingly. Like a supercharger is about 3/4 of the cost of gas for most cars. If you avoid superchargers and you charge at home, it's still about half the cost of gas. So the savings is not huge. But if you have solar, I mean, it's free. I mean, you're already prepaid for it with your solar, so you might as well. But will this car ever replace gas vehicles for me? And the answer is no. I mean, hell no. I love my gas cars. There's never not going to be a gas car in my garage. But for the mission that I have for this car to get me to work, to save me money, and still give me a stupid smile on my face every time I do this, every time I do that, I mean, you can't beat that. And I don't think you can ignore these much longer. They're just good cars, and they're made in America. I mean, come on. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Lots more videos coming up on this car, I'm sure. I gotta get aftermarket wheels for it, the camber links, gotta fix that DRL headlight. Anyway, guys, thanks for making it here to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Lots more videos coming up on this, guys, and all my other cars. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.